How's it going, friends? Welcome to the Twin Cities. This show tells the stories of the people that we've been lucky enough to help relocate to the Twin Cities in hopes that hearing directly from them helps you along the same journey. I'm your host, Jesse Lynch. I run the hardest working real estate team in the game. We're here at our office in Northeast Minneapolis. We call it The Shop. I'm joined by my co-host and arguably the best agent on my team, Steve Wilk.
Hey, what's up?
Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you watch and listen. And of course, if you want to work with the aforementioned hardest working real estate team in the game, head over to our website, tothetwincities.com, or shoot us an email directly to info@tothetwincities.com. And while we're here, I'd like to extend my immense gratitude to General Swiss Army knife of a human, the guy who gets it done, the producer of the show, Paul Winkleman. Hey. Thanks to you.
Yeah. What's up?
Also built a deck for me.
Oh.
In like a day and a half. He's not for hire. No, I'm kidding. And today we are joined by our esteemed guest and arguably our favorite client ever, Mohammed.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you say that to all the
here.
guests, right? I didn't say that.
Yeah.
And all the agents.
Yeah.
What's up, man? Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. It's a Friday afternoon.
Taylor Swift weekend.
Taylor
That's
right
why.
on.
Swift
yeah.
weekend, yes.
Yeah.
Get pumped.
Yeah.
We should have considered that.
Surprised him with tickets.
Yeah. We just take him there right now. Actually, we're not doing a podcast. You won Taylor Swift.
It's like a reality TV show for Taylor
Yeah.
Swift. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Well, cool. Thank you for joining. And I guess hop into it. I'd love to just start with like where you were before you moved here, maybe before you were thinking about moving here. Like,
Yeah.
So maybe before it was even on your radar. What were you doing? Where were you living?
Yeah.
What did life look like?
Yeah, I was living in Austin, Texas, which I have to clarify because I forget there's an Austin, Minnesota up here. So
I just had that with my mom where I said I was showing people from Austin. And
Yeah.
then she was like,
she thought Minnesota.
Texas? Yeah. yeah. She definitely thought Minnesota.
Yeah, I was living in Austin, Texas. I moved there right before the pandemic started. I was living in New York City for a long while after that, but that's what I was doing. I mean, I'm from Texas originally, so I moved home, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it was just working and, hanging out, and then the pandemic hit, and that was just, a weird 2 years of everyone's life. But I was there to really see the change in Austin, like, get super accelerated. It had been happening before I even got there, but...
Yeah, pandemic time. That was
Yeah.
when
Everyone, I mean, man,
a lot of West Coast
the stories about people
relocation.
moving there it's true. It was just crazy. It seemed like it happened overnight, but traffic, people moving, just everything changed very quickly. So,
And
yeah.
How long? So, you like in 2019 you moved
Yeah,
back? Wow.
I
Crazy.
moved at the end of 2019 in October.
Crazy.
And then it hit in March 2020.
Yeah.
So got a few good months of enjoying Austin.
I guess.
What a bummer.
Yeah, but New York would have been kind of a wild place to be too.
That would have
So
been
probably
crazy.
worse.
maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe it's for the better.
For
you
sure.
know? That's
for sure.
Wow.
So,
Were you did not own a home, correct?
I did not.
In Austin?
Yeah, I had moved there with a former partner, and we were testing it out as a city, and so we just moved into a rental house to
Yep.
figure out the neighborhood, see what we liked, what we didn't like.
Yeah.
Sure. Was the intention to eventually buy in Austin, or I guess
I think so. I mean,
Okay.
if it had, yeah, I guess there's no way to know if the
You had
pandemic
4
had hit.
months of
sure. Yeah, I guess that's It was I mean, you said it. You were testing it out. So
Yeah.
Okay.
So, it's kind of crazy to think about. I don't know what would have happened if the
Yeah.
pandemic had never hit.
And what were you doing for work?
I was working, at that time, I was working for a consulting firm. So I was also just never in Austin. I traveled every week. So
Yeah.
I was on a flight every Monday morning and on a flight back every Thursday. Literally right before the pandemic started, I got a new job in Austin. I was there for a week in the office, and then they're like, "We're shutting everything down. See you later." Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I was working for a software company at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So,
Great.
Um,
What was the neighborhood like? Were you in Austin proper? Were you in a suburb of Austin?
yeah. Ironically, I was in a neighborhood called the North Loop.
Oh.
Wow.
So it's
Cool.
probably 4 or 5 miles north of downtown Austin. I think it's one of those neighborhoods that got gentrified a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So a lot of, I think, younger folks, families, probably mid-30s, houses, really not like apartments or anything like that. Trying to remember that neighborhood. It wasn't very walkable. There's not very many places in Austin that are walkable.
Was it close to like any like nightlife or restaurants or anything like that?
There were maybe 3 bars and restaurants at maybe 5-10 minute walk away, but like the real massive stuff, you definitely had to get in a car at least a 5-10 minute drive away, and then, you know, depending on where you want to hang out in Austin, it's a big city.
Sure.
You know, further out as well. So,
Yeah. It kind of sprawls. I feel like Austin,
does.
like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
not all that unlike here, but it, you know, in its sprawl. But the city itself seems more, it's like either more, well, maybe it's equally dense, but there's also, seems like less dense pockets of Austin. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the downtown core, right around the river, certainly you see all those high rises going up, and I think they're trying to get density in there because everyone's trying to move there, and they need the housing. But it's spreading for sure.
Yeah.
They say that corridor between Austin and San Antonio will just become one giant metropolis in the next like 20 years, and you already see it happening a little bit. So
I believe that.
yeah.
Crazy.
People want to
Interesting.
spread out.
Yeah.
So what was the impetus then to move from there?
I'd gotten another job where I could work remotely, and so I wasn't gonna have to be tied to any city. Candidly, the relationship ended that I was in, and so I was just ready to kind of start over and find a fresh start. I didn't really love the fact that everyone was moving to Austin. It got super expensive, kind of bougie, just really wasn't the scene that I was looking for. And then a lot of the amenities that people, this may be controversial, but they say they like about Austin, like proximity to the outdoors and stuff like that. I don't think it's all that great. I think it's a little tougher to get into the good outdoors than people make it seem, and then it's also just hot as shit all the time, right? Like it's like 110 every day in the summer. So just wanted to. So that was my opportunity to say I'm going to check out some other places and think about moving, and that was really the impetus.
That makes
to
sense.
get moving. Yeah. So.
I've never found Austin to be the most like naturally accessible or even particularly beautiful place. Like I'm like, it's cool, you know, it's got cool stuff, but when people talk about like, oh, it's like some nature, I'm kind of like, wait, you know, I don't really see it, but
there's stuff to do. No shade to the people that love it. I mean, there's people on the river, the lake, whatever they call it, do paddleboarding and swimming, running around it, and all that stuff. But you know, I think like good hiking trails, biking trails. It just, I think it takes a little further, and it's not as great as everyone makes it out to be. But, to each their own.
And it's a million degrees.
And it's a million degrees.
That does not happen.
For sure. For sure.
Why Minnesota then?
Yeah, dude, it was never on my radar, honestly. I'd never been to Minnesota other than maybe flying through the airport 20 years ago. I was convinced I was going to move somewhere out west. I wanted to be in the mountains, like Denver, Santa Fe, Salt Lake, somewhere like that. And I went on a little country tour. I visited Denver for a while. I looked at houses. I went to Salt Lake. I went to Santa Fe and Albuquerque and checked out New Mexico.
Oh, wow.
I think Denver had the same problems that Austin was having. Everyone moved there as well after the pandemic. So the Denver of 10, 15 years ago is not the Denver of today. Salt Lake, I think I had high hopes for Salt Lake because the mountains are like right there. I don't know if y'all have ever been, but they're like smack you in the face with how close they are. That was amazing, but I think I would have gotten bored in Salt Lake.
It's small.
Very quickly.
Yeah. And it's kind of slow. Kind of
It
slow
is.
moving.
It is. But I guess you don't move there for a nightlife or even a little bit of night.
Yeah.
And then I think like Santa Fe was just also a little too slow, a little too small for what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And so then I just got on, and a lot of this also housing costs was a factor. Denver was wildly expensive, like Austin got.
Yep.
Salt Lake was also pretty expensive for
Yep.
what you got out there, and same with like Santa Fe. So I would just get on Zillow and just start looking for houses, like literally all over the country.
Yeah.
I looked in a lot at Columbus, Ohio, because I had a client there once upon a time and thought it was a cool little town. There were some cool things happening, and they had some I like the old housing. I
Yep.
think that's pretty neat. So they had a lot of that housing stock for pretty reasonable prices. Where else was I thinking about? Chicago. Chicago's expensive, obviously, but for a big city, I think it's relatively affordable.
Certainly compared to New York.
Yeah,
or
they're like
LA
in New
or
York, LA, Seattle.
Yeah.
Chicago's pretty affordable. And then my boss at the time is from Minnesota. He was actually one of y'all's clients.
Yep.
He mentioned how great it was here, and I was like, yeah, right, whatever. It's Minnesota. No way, man. I get it. But then I started looking. I was like, I'm bored. I'm going to look at some of these houses online.
You're all, we'll see about it.
Yeah. And I think just looking at Zillow or Redfin or whatever was like the start of it. But I was like, these houses are beautiful and old and cool, and they're relatively affordable.
Sure.
And maybe I should be a little more open-minded about, checking it out. And so I just started. I'm a guy that goes down rabbit holes all the time, and so I just started Googling the shit out of Minnesota and Minneapolis and like just getting deep on stuff to do. The temperature, obviously, weather was a thing that freaked me out, not knowing about it.
Sure.
But you lived in New York.
It's different.
Yeah.
Having lived through my first winter, it's different for sure.
But it's not as, I don't think it's, had you just lived in Austin, I don't think it's not like, what on earth is this?
Yes.
You're like, okay, I've experienced something like this.
For sure. Having lived in cold places before
Yeah.
helped immensely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially this past winter with record-breaking snow. So.
That was a crazy,
Yeah.
the wild winter.
Yeah, man. I mean, just the more research I did, the more I was like, this seems like a cool place. I should probably just come check it out. And it must have been literally about a year ago when I came
almost
up here.
exactly, yeah.
Crazy.
June of last year, I flew up for a week, and at this point, I already knew I was going to look at houses, so I reached out to y'all, and we had some discussions, and spent a few days bopping around, just riding bikes by the lakes, and I mean, it was June and July, or in Minneapolis, so the weather was amazing, and people were out, everything was green and lush, and I just got a good feeling as soon as I got here, and so.
Cool.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So
it's great. I mean, like notably after like knowing that you went to Denver and Salt Lake City.
So yeah,
and
did
Santa
you
Fe.
You went to all these places? Did you see houses while you were out there?
I did in Denver. I didn't in Salt Lake or New Mexico. But yeah, Denver, I spent a good couple days.
Yeah.
Almost a week looking at houses. So,
Yeah. I mean, that obviously that says something. You were here in July or in June, which
Sure.
is obviously like a representation of part of the year
Sure.
here, you know?
Yeah.
But I think it is also like how great it is here in the summer and spring and fall.
Yep.
Is like why we tolerate the winter.
Totally.
Because you're like, I know this is around the corner. and
Totally.
it's going to be sick. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's like good. It's like nice to know that you didn't just consider these other places and go, they're too expensive. Like
Sure.
there were real potential options
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
And you were like, I don't know, we'll see. And then this just felt like a better fit.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you mentioned like going down a rabbit hole, doing all this research, which I think is pretty admirable. I mean, that's,
Sure.
I'm that way. I'm a lunatic.
Yeah, right. It's,
Yeah, I'm a maniac.
There's so much information available now. It's
for
like
sure.
it's hard to stop.
totally. So was there anything that you learned doing that research that excited you about the Twin Cities? I mean, you mentioned a few of the things, like stuff that people were, like activities outside and, like the weather and stuff, but like anything that kind of like fit with your lifestyle that you were particularly excited about, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe I didn't realize how, like, economic-wise, there's a ton of Fortune 500 companies here, and just, I think there's a lot going on that I wasn't aware of. So, like, there's a robust enough job market where I had to leave my current job and want to find something local. I mean, you're in the middle of the country, so I think just in the airport, like, that's a factor, being able to get in and get out. And like the airport, the few times I've been able to use it has been like easy.
Piece of cake.
It's one of the easiest airports to get in and out of. It's clean. It's
You're not the first person that we've talked to that's mentioned that as the airport as being like, not just the airport itself, but like kind of like the location geographically of Minnesota. And like if you are someone who either needs to or likes to travel a lot, it really is conducive to,
especially around the country.
Yeah. Totally.
Like there is really no cross country flight from Minnesota. Right?
Sure.
Like you're in the middle.
Sure.
The closest thing would be like, I guess, to either coast,
flying
to
like
San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego or Miami or something, right?
Which both of those are like maybe 4-ish hours. Or something like
I
that.
flew to Miami this year when we were on the way to the Cayman Islands. It was not a difficult flight.
No, it's not crazy at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything that surprised you, both good or bad? Even maybe just on your trip, or
I think what was surprising was just the vibrancy of the place. Like, for better or worse, for people that have never been here, it's got a reputation of being like a land of stodgy white Scandinavian people or whatever it is, and so just like coming here and everyone's out, and it was Pride Month at this time last year, and there were like street festivals and all sorts of just amazing things happening. And I mean, it was just like the reputation didn't meet like the actual reality. Like this seemed like a fun place to be able to be just
a person.
Yeah, a person. Just a person. So,
Yeah,
Totally.
like the vibrancy. That's a cool answer to that.
Yeah.
Again, it's like nice to hear.
For sure, yeah. Some we've lived here practically our whole lives, and like we feel that way. But it is nice to hear someone, especially like you mentioned before, like it never really was on your radar. It was like a consideration, but that you came here and we're like, oh, this is you made a note of it. Was
yeah.
nice to hear, for sure.
I also think it's. I don't know if I'll be able to say this, but like diverse. I mean, it was.
Yeah, you can say that.
It's
for sure.
way more diverse than I had ever imagined, and it's because I mean, I didn't know Minnesota had this amazing history of welcoming refugees from all over the place, and so that's important, and that was a welcome surprise. Like, I love it. I think it's amazing to have all these other cultures here. The access and to be able to learn from them it was great.
Yeah,
so,
That's cool.
Yeah, it's compared to even some of the places you mentioned. The diverse. It's not like sometimes other places are like diverse, but it's like diverse across like 2 varieties or like 3, and where I think it is like a pretty rich and like like true meaning of diversity of like so many different like origins or backgrounds or whatever. Yeah, it's nice.
It's amazing.
Melting pot, but obviously not like New York or something.
Yeah, sure.
Not quite as much.
Well, for the perception, to his point, or to what he said before, the perception being like maybe not that,
like the antithesis.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the exact opposite of what you would perceive it to be. For sure. Yeah.
That's cool. That's good to hear.
Was there anything that you were particularly nervous about once you decided to make the move?
Yeah. I mean, I moved here not knowing anyone. So again, in my research of Minnesotans, the ability to break into friend groups that have been friends since y'all went to middle school or high school or elementary school together. So certainly, finding a social circle was a big factor. And I just turned 41, so like I'm not in my 20s where I'm gonna go out at a bar every night and meet friends that way, you know. So that was certainly. I guess maybe still is a little bit terrifying, or not terrifying, but that's a consideration.
I think I could be wrong, but I always think like that seems like it'd be hard anywhere.
Yeah,
you know, like as an adult, like I'm just like, man, I don't know. How do you do this? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, people you work with, people you just interact with, you know, the most end up, you know.
Yeah.
Again, you're also not the first person to mention that as being like something that people are nervous about going to a new place. So yeah, I think that's super relatable. And
and like people you work with in the remote world of these days, I don't work with anyone here. We have 7 or 8 folks that live here from my company, but they're all spread out, and so you know. And then also, like once you're in that remote mindset, no one really wants to. It's much harder to get people to come out for happy hours and things like that these days than it used to be. So
because you're not like all in one place, and then you're like, well, let's just go to this place.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's like to get everyone to
everybody.
actually. It's difficult for sure.
So
that's
yeah.
We should try to make a video about it. I don't know, like we do the meetups, you know, it's like that is a common thing, like it's a theme, and it's like I'm sure there are ways that we could like help make that easier. The meetup is like the most basic concept of that.
Yeah, that's scratching the surface.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's something. But it's something to think about for sure in the future. Devote more of our time and energy into that, because it's not like it's one person who's mentioned it. You know, and I totally get it too. If I moved somewhere I didn't know anybody, it would be.
Sure.
It's not easy. I mean, I think it's a pretty unique individual who, like, again, especially once you get past a certain age where you could go somewhere and like just, you know, be the center of attention, you know, and like, and like make friends super easily. Most people, it's just not that. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. It's that's cool. So okay. You at some point, well, when would you say you decided to move here? In that
week,
okay.
yeah. I mean, like, before we started looking at houses, I was like, I just need to get the vibe of this place.
Yeah.
So I just rolled around, took some walks, was on a bike. And I think I'm a person that once I get a good feeling, I'm like, let's just do this. And then, so I said, once we started looking at houses, I was like, if we find a house, I think I'm just going to do this.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's fun, you know, like that's just at one point you had to be like, okay, this is what I'm wanting to do, you know? And
well, I mean, and like, it's also just where you live it's such a big decision. It's such a hard thing. And like, I had been driving myself crazy for months leading up to this. Like, should it be Denver? Or should it be what, you know, like you can really, it was just draining and exhausting. And at some point you got to just be like, I'm going to make a decision. It doesn't necessarily need to be final, but like, I got to just pull the trigger here. Otherwise I think you'll just go crazy. So,
yeah. So, okay. So you decide to, while you're here, you're in the process of making it all happen. Like, I don't remember all the timeline of how it worked with y'all. Like, or like with like, you know, you were here for that week.
Yep.
You didn't get a house under contract that week, did you?
Or put an offer in.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was during that week or shortly thereafter, but it wasn't long after that time that we spent together.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have I guess not really. I was gonna say, did you have a strategy? But probably not really. Was there any kind of like deadline? Like, I mean, the strategy seems obvious. It's like, you know, find a house. You know.
Yes.
Did you look when you were here? Were you trying to figure out neighborhood? Or
a little
were you
bit.
just,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, again, I looked online. They said Northeast is cool.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I read about Kingfield, Powderhorn, all these places. So and I think we looked just about in except for St. Paul, but in about every neighborhood in Minneapolis, we hit a lot in those few days. So, yeah.
Okay, and then you felt once you went back to Austin, right?
Yep.
And then you're probably looking at stuff virtually. Is that how that worked?
Yeah.
For you? Okay.
I know we did the inspection virtually, but did we look at
Houses?
I can't remember if
No.
we looked at houses.
Oh, okay.
You might have gotten the under contract before you left, and then we had the
I think we put an offer in before I left, and it got accepted when I was
Yeah.
within a week or something down
Okay.
there.
yeah.
So,
but
but
then
we
we did
yeah, I
the
mean,
inspection virtually.
yeah,
Yeah.
we did everything else virtually until I moved up here.
That's
So,
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, to be here for a week and like decide and also get a house under contract, that's like
I mean,
Yeah.
the market was also crazy at that
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
right? So you had to move fast.
yeah.
So,
That's cool though. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a gift really to just be like,
Yeah.
okay, this isn't going to be all this friction and all
Yeah.
that to figure this out.
Yeah.
Cool.
For
Did
sure.
Was there a deadline? Like, or it was just like, I want to make this happen?
There was a deadline to get out of Austin. There wasn't a deadline to buy the house, but my lease was ending.
Okay.
So my goal was to have something lined up, not necessarily have bought a house or be under contract, but at least know where I'm going.
Yeah.
And if like we hadn't found something, would have gotten an Airbnb or something and
Totally.
looked
Sure.
more while I got here. But it worked out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any guess on how many houses you saw?
I mean, on mine, like
let's say in person. Yeah. 4,000.
yeah, 5,000 houses for sure. We probably looked at, man, it must have been maybe close to 30 houses. We looked at a lot.
Yeah,
feel
I would
like.
say in that ballpark because it was 3 days, 3-ish
Yeah,
days,
three.
probably maybe
Yeah.
not 10 a day, but yeah, like probably
Eight-ish,
yeah,
yeah.
8-ish, yeah, you know, like a full like 5-6 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's most people get burnt out around that.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
a marathon.
No
for
more
sure.
houses. Yeah.
for sure.
Okay. So, which is a healthy, if you had lived here, you would be you wouldn't be looking at 8 a day, but
Yeah.
like around that number is what most people are looking at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
very like kind of the hitting the mean there in terms
Yeah.
of the amount of homes
Sure.
viewed. Do you remember what the showing process felt like?
Yeah, but, I mean, it's all foreign. It was all foreign to me. This was my first house I ever bought.
Yeah.
I guess the only somewhat similar experience was either living in New York or in Austin. You go tour the apartment you're going to rent with
Yeah.
a broker.
Yeah,
but
with a realtor out there
yeah,
too, right?
yeah, for sure.
Sounds strange.
But it's different when you're like, this is the place I'm going to spend a lot of money on to buy and like own and
Yeah.
yeah, it was.
Did you burn
Yeah.
out? Like, or was it like a tolerable amount of stuff to look at?
I was pretty wiped out by that last day for sure. Yeah, it's like this sucks. This is hard because, I mean, of the 30 houses, they all look great online.
Yeah.
As soon as you get there, there are some that you're like, this is not going to work out.
Yeah.
There's quirks and all sorts of stuff you find out once you actually go in, and so
Totally.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
say good from far, far from good. For
Yeah.
most houses, not every house, but yeah, it's the pictures can hide.
Yeah.
And it's not huge stuff in most cases. But
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, it feels
Yeah.
and looks different usually in person.
And enough to be like discouraging or like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll keep looking. But yeah, eventually you look at 30 and you go, okay, this is what it is. Like, this is what this area
Right.
and what this price and what this era of home is gonna,
Yes.
is going to be like.
Totally.
Mostly.
Yeah.
So you're like, all right, then now that I have that information, I can judge these a little more properly.
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, you totally got to get that context. I think you
Yeah.
have to go through like the 30 house
Totally.
search at least.
Yeah.
So
Otherwise, yeah, it's like how does this compare? Yeah. And some people will they'll make an offer on the first house they see, and then
Yeah.
they'll wonder if they should have,
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But-
Yeah, that still blows my mind during the pandemic when people were buying houses sight unseen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we help people kind of, but it's like they're doing a virtual tour, and we're very critical. And even that is without being the people who never step foot in the home before they close. It's like, it is like, okay, that's like a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Or-
Putting a lot of faith in us.
Yeah.
Too.
For sure.
Or
yeah.
maybe just like a staunch realism of like, no home will be perfect.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
make it work.
Sure.
Maybe
Sure.
there's and people also some people aren't picky. Some people are like, this will do. My mom says, she's like, show me 3 houses and I want to buy 2. You know, like every house, she's like, I could live there, you know. But okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What areas? I mean, you mentioned Kingfield Northeast,
Yep.
Powderhorn. Any other areas that you were considering?
Is it Longfellow that's right on the furthest east, right by the river?
The weird diagonal neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one. So
Cool.
it's I think it was a lot of South Minneapolis though.
Yeah, primarily from what I remember.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, where you ended up, technically Lindale.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty close to Kingfield.
Yeah, it's literally the border. Kingfield's 36 is the border, so yeah. So
Did you, when you were going through that process, did you how did you end up where you did? Did you have like a preference between the areas that you had seen?
Was it house?
Was that your?
Was it more the right house in any of those areas, or
I think it was probably just a combo because I think going in having read everything about Northeast and that's where all the cool stuff's happening and I think that's really where I wanted to end up. But we looked at a few houses there and I just don't think I got the feeling that I got from seeing the houses in South Minneapolis.
Yeah.
So
I would agree. I like the housing stock
yeah.
in South Minneapolis more than I like it in Northeast, mostly, with a
Yeah,
few exceptions.
sure,
But I
sure.
do like Northeast. Obviously, my office is here. old
Totally
office was
cool.
here,
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff here, and we didn't see obviously, I'm sure there was a house for me in
there are
Northeast.
some cool ones,
But yeah, I think also being closer to the lakes, that was a huge selling point of being in South Minneapolis.
True.
At that point, my office had a WeWork subscription, or I still have one, but there was a WeWork in Uptown, so.
Is there not a WeWork in Uptown?
They closed that one,
Okay.
so now there's one in the North Loop in downtown. But the one in Uptown was, a 2-minute drive or 5-minute bike ride away from my house. So that was what ended up being my house. But yeah, so
Okay.
yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah.
Do you, did you get your first offer accepted?
No, we looked at. There was a cool Tudor house, so we're like those Tudors y'all have here.
Yeah.
Maybe it was in Powderhorn. It was in not.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
There was-
It was like Greater Longfellow. I can't,
Maybe that was it. But
Okay.
we saw it. We were going to put in an offer, and I think before we were even like able to formally put in the offer, you called me and said they had already accepted one.
It was actually worse than that because it was what had happened was they put a deadline, a highest and best deadline, and then accepted it. And so we were like, okay, cool, we have time to finish what we're doing, get back, put their offer together, submit it, and by the time we were doing that, which was before the deadline, I was informed that they had accepted an offer.
That's frustrating, for sure.
And our offer, I think the offer was going to be higher than what they ended up accepting too.
Did you look it up later?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang, dude.
Yeah. So their loss, I guess. Whatever.
That's crazy.
I mean, I felt bad. That's so disappointing. We were talking with some other friends on the pod last time about, I mean, the only thing worse than that is when you get when you submit the offer, you get a verbal acceptance from the listing agent, and then before the seller signs it, they go with a different offer.
That's a brutal.
That's a really difficult
like a
phone call.
Yeah.
And yes, I mean, obviously, 10 times worse to be on the receiving end of that phone call. But
Yeah, we don't even tell people anymore if a verbal acceptance.
Oh, really?
just wait till we get the
Wait till it's in
signed
writing.
one.
You might be like, sounded promising,
Sure.
but not like
Sure.
you got it.
Looking
Yeah.
good. But
Yeah.
it's not official until we get that.
It's true
signed
because
purchase
I
agreement.
remember talking to you that night. We talked a couple times, and I mean, you were devastated. I felt bad that you were feeling so bad, but it's such an emotional thing. You're putting all your time and effort. You find a place, you're jazzed to even just put in an offer, and then it just the rug gets pulled out from under you. It's
a doozy.
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with a roller coaster, there are some highs as well. So what did it feel like when you got your offer accepted?
Yeah, I mean, that was crazy. It was like this. It was mind-blowing to me that I was going to buy a house for the first time. And I actually remember talking to you about this. You were like, the day I got my offer accepted and got the keys to my house was one of the proudest moments of my life.
The number one, yeah.
And I totally get that. It's this is cliche, but it's the American dream. Like, you own a little piece of property and it's yours and you get to do whatever you want with it. And
it's a crazy feeling.
It is.
It felt surreal to me. Like,
Yeah.
and also like, okay, like you're like, this is mine now. That's crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
If this grass dies, it's all on me.
Yeah. Oh boy.
On
Yeah.
the flip side, there's owning a house.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
That's awesome though.
Yeah.
And you were back at home, well, old home. You were back in Austin when it got accepted.
Yeah. It must have been a week or two after we put in the offer, and yeah, it got accepted, and then I was, you sign the paperwork, and you're like, this is, or I don't remember the exact process, put the earnest money down or whatever, and all that stuff, but you're like, this is happening, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Was it upsetting that you couldn't like obsess and like drive by it and stuff?
man, I
would have.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got on whatever Zillow and I like downloaded all the pictures. I was like trying to visualize what I was going to do with the place.
Yeah.
And on Google Maps, I don't know if you know, when you go to the Street View, you can like click to different years that they've done the Google
yeah,
Maps.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that.
I figured that out by obsessing over the house that I just bought. I was like, what does it look like 3 years ago, and this, that, and the other. And so,
cool.
it's difficult being far away.
Yeah,
from-
you're like, I just want to go like
Sure.
stalk this
Yeah,
house.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
What so what area did you end up moving? You said Lindale.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you like it? Are you happy there?
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy because it was the week I came up to look, I was staying in an Airbnb a few blocks away, and this was on the list, this house. And it was actually, I think, the first house we looked at. And so I was just on a walk before we even started looking, just to check out the neighborhood. And I was standing there, like, looking in front of this house, and one of my now neighbors, like, walked up to me, and we just started having a conversation. I was like, yeah, I'm
that's cool.
taking a look at this house. And, yeah, 5 months later, I'm like, hey, remember me? We had this conversation. But yeah, man, the area is great. There's enough to walk to within a 10-minute walk, 15-minute walk.
Tons, right? Yeah, that's a cool
Yeah,
spot.
I mean, like all that Boluto and stuff on 38th is pretty close.
so good.
And then the lakes, when I go out on runs or bike rides, like the lakes are right there. To be able to just have that so close is just incredible. The neighborhood's great. My neighbors are great. It's
Cool.
Yeah, I'm thrilled. It's beautiful.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So when we were looking, were there areas that you thought that you would like, but then for whatever reason just didn't really vibe? I mean, you kind of mentioned Northeast,
Yeah.
but that was more for the housing related.
Yeah.
But any others that you can think of that just didn't quite like meet
That on paper
expectations?
sounded
Yeah.
cool, and then you got there and you're like, never mind.
Maybe Powderhorn. I think I'd read Powderhorn, and I think Powderhorn's a pretty sizable neighborhood, so maybe we only
It's a
saw
big chunk, yeah.
parts of it, but I just felt like there wasn't going to be enough. I just didn't get the vibe that I was reading about online. With
Yeah.
It, so
Sure.
yeah. But other than that, like I don't think, like, yeah, I don't think so. We didn't
Okay.
look at the North Loop or anything like that because
Condos.
yeah,
Yeah.
condos.
How did you actually pull the move off? Like the logistics of the move, getting your stuff here, getting
Yeah.
you here.
Yeah, that was another rabbit hole to go down. I didn't have a lot of stuff. I was renting a little like 900 square foot house in Austin, so it's not like I had a ton of stuff to move. But I mean, I got quotes for full service movers, and that shit is just wildly
Knocked your
expensive.
socks off.
I was like, really, to do this?
Yeah.
So
I don't think anyone we've talked to has ended up doing
It's
that.
not the move.
Yeah.
Unless you're just loaded.
Just flush.
I'm like,
Flush.
I don't
Listen,
think it's the move.
I will say I spent way too much money on it, but I did it once when we moved from New York to Austin, and it was the most incredible experience in the world.
That's the thing. It's like the easiest.
Oh my God!
But
yeah, you
very
just-
few people. It's like the Venn diagram of how easy it is and
Yes.
how expensive
Yes,
it is. Very few people
for sure.
are like,
you
yeah,
absolutely need that overlap. If I ever win the lottery and move again, I'll do a full service move. But for the most part, so then I went down like all the options. Like, do I rent a U-Haul and pull my car up? Do I get one of those pods and have them do the thing? And that was also still fairly expensive. The extreme, I guess, cost-effective way is like you can ship boxes up to Greyhound and stuff like that, freight, and so. But like, I don't want my stuff to arrive in 1,000 pieces.
Mailman hates you. Yeah. Hey, dude. Did you move up here?
And so I can't remember how I found out about this. The pods were just, I would end up needing to get 2. I think they size them that way. So like if you have a small move, you're going to end up having to get 2 just so, they make a little more money or whatever. But there was a service, I don't know what it's called. Maybe it's called less than freight load or less than truckload moving. And so you basically pay for the amount of space you use. So it was a service called ABF. So they pulled a 20-foot trailer up into my driveway, parked it there, and then you load it so you're in charge of, make sure stuff is loaded in there properly, whatever. And then they give you these bulkhead doors basically with a lock. And so they'll measure like how much of the trailer you use. You put your stuff in, you assemble the doors, you lock it up, and then they'll put like 3 other shipments on there.
Oh, wow.
And so like you're sharing the cost essentially of the trailer.
That's pretty cool.
And it ended up being the most cost-effective way to do it. So I did all the packing myself, bought all the boxes at U-Haul or whatever and packing. But then to get it into the trailer, I hired a couple guys off TaskRabbit or something. And so we just spent the day loading up the trailer, lock it up, and then you just give them a call and say it's ready to go. And so they'll come pick it up in the window. I think you have like a week window or something like that to get it loaded and stuff like that. But
and then they probably have a little while to also pick it up. Right?
Yeah. And then it goes however they route it. I mean, then it gets dropped off in some yard with a bunch of trailers, and then it gets
sorry.
And then it shows up at some point.
Yeah.
At a trailer yard up here in Minneapolis.
Crazy.
So, yeah.
And then they ultimately drop it in front of your house?
No, so they can, or you can, what I ended up doing was actually renting a U-Haul here, again, hiring a couple guys off TaskRabbit. So we unloaded it at the place, loaded it into the U-Haul, unloaded the U-Haul at my house, and then dropped the U-Haul off. So,
do you remember what these different bids were? Do you remember how much that cost you?
I think the trailer was maybe like $2,500, $2,700, which was very cheap for, 1,500-mile move from Austin to Minneapolis. And then TaskRabbit just depends on who you hire, and then your shipping cost or the materials for the boxes and all that stuff. So I think all in, I was able to get the move done for less than $5,000.
Crazy.
Which was
That's good.
An
Nice.
order of magnitude cheaper than anything that was quoted.
Even by pods or?
Even by pods, or even like a partial service move where you do all the packing and they come put the boxes in for you. The big moving companies were just outrageously expensive.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do you remember what cross country? Do you remember what that bid was?
Like for the full service move?
Yeah.
Oh man, it was like 14
Okay.
grand.
That's just
Yeah,
like
it
a
was-
morbid curiosity.
Yeah.
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 So,
Yeah.
like,
No,
So
that's
for the
good.
full
Good to
service
know.
one, it was crazy. And then for the bid for if I did all the packing and they loaded the truck, it was still like $7,000.
Okay.
Which just seemed excessive to me.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So is there anything that you would have done different?
I mean, again, yeah. If I had the money, I would have.
Well, I
Yeah.
guess like for
how you
knowing
did it.
what you know now, would you have done the same thing?
Would it have been
Yeah.
easier or
No.
cheaper? Okay.
I mean, I like doing things myself. I'm a guy who likes to get stuff done. I'm also a little bit thrifty, to put it nicely. So if I can save
Right
some
on.
money, I will put in a day of labor and packing and loading stuff up myself for unloading. So
Cool.
yeah, it worked for me.
Sweet.
Unfortunately, nothing broke until I was unloading something from the U-Haul myself. So like, it was amazing.
Only
Nothing
myself to
happened.
blame.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it worked.
What was what was the hardest? This last time on the move. What was like the hardest piece of that, or I don't know. What was the worst part of that, of the move, of like the physical process of moving?
I mean, it's a cop out of an answer, but just moving. I mean, you put your entire life in boxes, and then you're without it for however long. It was a week, 2 weeks, whatever, and then you got to take it all out of boxes and put it all away, and just it's just. Yeah, it just sucks.
That's fair.
It's just annoying. There's all this trash and garbage. And like, why did I bring this with me? I don't need this thing.
Well, I have boxes I have not touched since
exactly.
I moved in my house in 2016.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, I mean, moving's just
That's fair.
a pain in general, but
Not being able to afford the full service.
Yeah.
basically. Or not wanting to afford it at least.
yeah,
That's fair.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
So now you are officially a resident of
Yeah.
Minnesota.
yep.
What do you, I almost want to say, all right, I'll probably have a follow-up. What do you hate the most?
What do I hate about Minnesota the most?
Or like the least, you know? I don't know. If you don't feel hate.
The thing I dislike the most, I guess it's really come to light since it's gotten warmer, but the drivers.
Oh,
I
interesting.
I don't think I understand Minnesota drivers, and it just pisses me off on a daily basis.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah.
Yeah, what are the habits that bug you the most?
I think, first of all, I'm like, the speed limits on highways in Texas are all 70, so everyone drives way too slow here.
Yeah,
Way
which
too
means
slow.
80.
Yeah,
pretty
right,
consistently.
exactly.
Yeah.
So no one's actually going 70. I don't know how they teach y'all in driver's ed how to change lanes, because it seems like you just get cut off instead of like merging into a lane. It's just like, well, now this car is going to be in front of me. These are all nitpicky things, and I'm maybe
No, this is
terrible driver that just gets too angry. But yeah, I mean, driving too slow. I feel like people speed up and then slow down and speed up and slow down, and I just can't like.
That bugs me real bad. And I don't know that it's just here. I've driven all over, and so I can't really pinpoint it to here, but I'm like a cruise control user.
Yeah.
And when somebody is doing this next to me, you know, and I'm like, I'm on cruise control. I know that I'm not doing that.
Sure.
And they're just that, makes me feel crazy.
Yes. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong here? I don't know.
Yeah. They're only like reacting to you. And
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I got to catch that guy. And then they get ahead of you and they're like, good guy.
Yes.
And then they fall
They
back.
slow down.
Catch
It's like,
that guy.
yeah. It's crazy. It's just like I've never experienced that in my driving,
That's crazy.
adulthood of driving. And I probably get way angrier than I should. But that's what drives me bonkers about this place.
That's
for
fair.
Sure. Yeah.
it's an interesting answer. I've not heard that one.
Yeah.
I've heard people gripe about it. You know,
Yeah.
about the one thing that we've heard is the fast lane
Mm-hmm.
on a highway. The theory is not here. The theory is that should only be for passing,
Sure.
and it's a passing lane. And
Sure.
here it's not really the passing lane.
You mean the left lane?
Driving,
Yeah.
the far left.
Here it's just like the idea is you're going faster than the traffic in the right lane, so
Yes.
you just stay there. Again,
Yeah.
a driving instructor might tell me otherwise, but I'm like, that's
Sure.
what people are doing.
That's what people use it for. In most places,
Yeah.
for sure.
But yeah, some people think that it should only be for passing.
Yeah.
Which is a very European thing. They're crazy
Yes.
about that.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
illegal to be in it, to just be
Oh,
chilling.
I didn't
in the
know
West.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I mean, I've tried to tell myself it's the nice, easy pace of life up here. People are just enjoying their drives, and I should lean into that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try that tactic. And
There
just
might
slow
be some
down,
of that.
maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There might be some of that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it doesn't. that doesn't make it less annoying when you are in a hurry or when you're like, when it feels like it's jamming you up for no reason at all.
Yeah. And then I guess I was talking to Steve about this on the way up here, but last year when we were looking at houses, it seemed like there was just construction everywhere and streets closed, and I was like, okay, this is just like an anomaly. But I was also informed that there's construction season in Minnesota, and this is it. So
unfortunately, that is not.
So
we got to fix all those potholes that we get during the spring.
Yeah.
But it's crazier that things take so much longer to get to now than when there's 6 feet of snow on the ground.
Because of all, that's true.
It does feel. I mean, I don't know how this could be true. We're again talking about this on the way up, but like it does just feel like there's like twice as many people on the road during summer as opposed to winter.
I've been hitting more traffic in the last month or two than I have for the last 3 years, probably.
So I mean, road construction. Road construction for sure, but I just don't. It just feels like there's way more people, and maybe it's summer, people are out and about, but also it's just like it just doesn't seem like the disparity should be that great.
And I think pre-COVID, traffic was worse than it is now. And then COVID made it actually where I was like, I don't think I've been in stop and go, except maybe for like a crazy accident, maybe a couple times in the last 3 years. But now I'm like, oh, it's actually like slow and go traffic during rush hour. Whereas, I don't know. Some people laugh at us because they're like, this isn't really.
It's all relative, right? So you think we're getting back to pre-COVID levels of traffic?
Certainly closer to it. I still don't think it's as bad as it was. But
the last 3 years are kind of like a weird, sample.
Totally.
So okay, so what do you like best about where you live now?
You mean Minnesota in general? Or
what your house, your neighborhood, your Minnesota?
But specific to where I live, I mean, my neighbors are great. My next door neighbors have now become very close friends.
Cool.
So that's
amazing.
Just like what we were talking about with the weather earlier, I was on a bike ride last week, and I think it was by Lake Harriet, and it was just like, was it last week when the weather was like in the 70s and just like absolutely perfect?
I think so,
But people were out, people were playing volleyball, like hanging out on the grass, just taking walks, and like, it was by Lake Harriet because whatever that museum is,
the Bakken
was over there, and it was just like this beautiful, perfect snippet of a Minnesota early spring, late spring, whatever you want to call it. And I was like, this is just incredible. Like absolutely perfect. And so just being able to lean into the flip side of winter and just being outside. I mean, it's just been great that there's so much to do outside and eat and drink, and it's been awesome.
And sometimes I think that's like the accessibility of all those things. The amount of parks we have is like unbelievable. And I think a lot of that, it's like, it is a response, whether or not it's conscious, it's a response to the cold. It's a response to not having that. And because it's crazy. And our natural beauty here is awesome.
It's wild.
And the spring, and like when people, I love that, like the first like 45-degree day, and there's people like running like, whoa,
March and early April.
It's like, okay, we can do it now. I love that. I love that feeling.
Someone explained it to me as and I quote, an explosion of life, and I think that's pretty accurate. Like seems like overnight, just everything, just is crazy. So,
it feels very natural to me. Obviously, I've lived here my whole life, but it feels like what people are supposed to do. I don't know.
The rhythm,
whether or not it is,
like there is like a rhythm to it.
Yeah.
I mean, the winter is the easiest thing to point to. It's just you're pent up for a group collective pent up for 6 months or whatever, 4 months.
Now
it's like okay.
Has there been? Are you glad you moved?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think this has been the right move. It's felt like home. I'm coming up on a year in September. Yeah, I think I'm finding my groove. I know where to go get groceries, and like I got a good routine. And
Where is
stuff
that, by the way? We're always interested to hear where people.
with the groceries. Actually, that's something else I've been disappointed with. Was the grocery stores here.
Oh, no.
That's not the first time I've heard that.
Yeah.
But I think we have some very good grocery stores. Where do you shop? Yeah.
I do the St. Louis Park strip, so I'll go Target, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, and that's
Okay.
usually the three I hit.
Okay.
And I buy various things at all of them.
Interesting.
But, yeah. I'm curious to hear what y'all think are the good grocery stores.
I mean,
if not on that list.
Kowalski's is like the go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's like
Yeah.
one of the best. But it's kind of expensive.
It's expensive,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
I'm a Whole Foods shopper.
Okay.
Probably more than anything else, but
I really like Lunds Byerly's.
Yeah.
My wife would probably say like the co-ops,
that's
East Side
true.
Co-op.
I'm a co-op
Yeah,
shopper too.
but I mean, I'm a man of the people, so you can find me at Cub. Really, I don't like it, but I go there. Paul knows.
Yeah.
So yeah, the working man's grocery store is
Okay.
where I'm at. But yeah, Cub. It's not one that I would necessarily recommend to an outsider.
It's I grew up Cub.
Yeah.
Were you
Okay.
Cub
Oh,
growing
yeah.
up? Yeah.
Apple
Okay.
Valley Cub.
Yeah.
for sure.
That's like all it was.
I mean, have I spent maybe like 1/100th of my life in the Apple Valley Cub?
Yeah.
It's possible.
Totally. Yeah, and I mean, because you had HEB.
Yeah, I mean, HEB Central Market are
And people
incredible.
Yeah, people
Yes.
compare a lot to HEB, and we
Yes.
don't
I
have
don't even know
anything.
what that is.
Oh my God.
I think
Is it
Hy-Vee
Texas
is like
specific?
almost the closest thing to
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know Hy-Vee?
I've never been in a Hy-Vee. I heard it's cool.
It's the closest where it's like they have like clothes. You know.
They have clothes?
Yeah, there's like a weird
Okay.
section of clothes. You know, and you're
Okay.
like, huh, this is odd. But it's huge. They're really
Yeah.
big. They're
Okay.
like shiny, nicer Cubs.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
they're just massive. But which
Yeah.
is what HEB to me when I think of that, I'm like
Yeah.
huge. But also like a lot of deli stuff and
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But Hy-Vee has that too.
Okay.
Have you grocery shopped at Menards?
I haven't grocery shopped. That's not true. I bought some of those oatmeal cream pies because they
Oh,
were like
yeah.
right there. I was like, I gotta eat these.
Huge bag of circus peanuts.
So I
As
had
one
some
does, yeah.
stain and a bag of oatmeal cream pies, which like amazing that you could get those all in one place. So,
Yeah,
Delicious.
it's an interesting spot.
yeah.
Yeah, that theme. There's like the jingle. Boy, that. It's
Oh,
like,
there's a
big
theme.
money.
Yeah, dum dum ding
Yeah.
yeah. It's like big time gets stuck in my head.
I don't
yeah.
think I've seen a Menards commercial, but now I'm
You
excited.
You hear it
They
on the
played-
radio if you ever listen.
And they play it in the store
Oh, okay.
constantly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has there been anything that's been particularly tough to adapt to?
Other than drivers.
Other than drivers, I mean, again, it sounds cliche, and I know this past winter was specifically brutal with the amount of record snow, but yeah, I mean, that was
Winter.
tough. I was prepared, I was ready to do it, and then third snowiest winter ever, right?
Yeah.
I was not prepared for that.
I wasn't, yeah.
So that was a little tough. I'm glad I got through it. My goal was to power through one full winter here, and I
Yeah.
did it. And so now I will probably take a trip somewhere warm next winter,
That's big.
which
like,
is what everyone told me
yeah,
to do. And
just a nicely placed,
Yeah.
like warm trip in the middle.
Yeah.
really breaks it up.
yeah,
nice. Yeah,
for sure.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there, other than weather?
Yeah.
Is there, what is different about where you were? I'd be curious to know, because you spent a good amount of time in New York too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what feels different about here, and it could be negative or good.
Yeah, and definitely a slower pace of life,
Yeah.
for sure, not just drivers. I mean, things just move a little slower here in New York. Obviously, everyone's in a rush and has places to go all the time.
Yeah.
Austin, there's an element of that too now, which is so many people that have moved there. It's a big city.
Yeah.
You know, it's top 10 big cities now. So things just move faster. And I would say I think not that I'm a person that parties or needs to be out till 2 a.m., but just things close really early here. Even like a restaurant on a Saturday nights.
It changed. That was another thing that changed during COVID too.
Yeah.
Places closed way earlier than they did pre-COVID.
Kowalski's in Uptown. It used to be
Oh,
24
really?
hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, bars too.
Yeah.
Yeah, bars for sure, but I've been surprised at some of the restaurants that are like, 8 p.m. we're closed, and
That's interesting.
So, yeah,
It makes you wonder why. Did the owners decide?
sure.
Was it business related?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to talk to someone who knows a little bit more, but my perspective on it is just, it's like more difficult to staff now than it was before
Sure.
in those industries before COVID. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Yeah, and just like the amount of money that comes in those hours is like relatively speaking, so much lower. So it's like, well, what do we, so I think those are two big things.
Just get it while the getting's good, and then
Exactly.
Because I mean, like, I think it's very age dependent as well. But I would say like in general, the Twin Cities, like they don't have like a huge reputation for like nightlife. Like it's more of like a brewery culture. If when people are going out, which is cool but different. Like those places just don't stay open. Have never stayed open past midnight.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, breweries. Yeah, I don't know if there's a law or something, but there's.
Yeah, not breweries, bars till 2.
Yeah.
But it's even clubs till 2.
Yeah.
If they serve alcohol, it's like 2.
Oh.
And I don't know. I mean, like for me, I'm like, that's fine. I don't care about clubs at all. You know. But I understand that there's an appeal to some people.
To some people,
Yeah.
I
not
would
me.
never want to go into
No.
a club, but I guess it's nice to have the option.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Slower pace of life. Which
Yeah.
this is kind of a tangent, but that's what I felt even more so in Salt Lake City.
That it was
Like
a slow.
it's even slower than
Oh,
here.
yeah,
And
for sure.
Just like easy going, but almost like where I was like,
Totally.
let's
Yes.
go.
Yes.
Yeah.
And here, at least, there's a bunch of different places to go out: Northeast, North Loop, South
Yeah.
Minneapolis, all that stuff. But again, no shade for the people that live in Salt Lake. But I felt like there was like one neighborhood, you see it
Yeah.
all in 2 days, and
Yeah.
that's it. So
Yeah. It's more about the nature and
it's
whatever. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. It's an interesting.
Yeah.
We're kind of in the middle. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know if I would call it a sweet spot, but it's like at least like we have it, but it's not as busy as some
Sure.
bigger cities.
Sure.
Even Chicago, I think, has like it's just like more happening all the time. But then I think that leads to like friction.
Yeah.
Which
The quality of life, in some respects, can go down because it's more difficult to do things when there's like considerably more people around.
yeah. But
Yeah.
okay, what is there anything you miss about Austin?
Yeah, I'm family and friends.
Okay.
Natural stuff. No offense, better Mexican food down there. Much better Mexican food. Barbecue. What else? Not a lot, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, yeah. No,
That's
I
good.
think you've got all the big city stuff here.
That's good.
Yeah.
Right on. So you mentioned a couple of the other areas that you've been, you'd like to go out in.
Yeah.
Have you experienced much of the Twin Cities just in general since moving here?
Not as much as I think I would have liked to. I definitely think I hibernated way more than I was anticipating in the deep cold winter. But I mean, there's just so much to see here, man. Right? Like Northeast, there's so much to do in Northeast. There's the North Loop. There's a million restaurants that I think it's like 65, 70 places booked on my Google Maps of like places I want to eat or drink or check out. And
Right on.
Crazy.
It's just so hard to pick which one to go to. And
Sure.
so I mean, I think I've been slowly but surely making the rounds, but I'm also a little bit of a homebody and so I'll default to the neighborhood bar around the corner at the
Yeah.
end of the day because it's easiest and I like it. But
No doubt. Do you make it out to St. Paul much at all?
I do, yeah. I've gone out to eat a couple times out there, and that's where I get my hair cut. And part of me, a small part of me, thinks I should have moved to St. Paul because I think
interesting.
there's some cool shit happening out there.
Yeah.
It's low key. It's beautiful. I mean, the housing is even more so, I think, than in Minneapolis. The old housing over there is just
Any spots in
incredible.
particular? Because I agree. I love St. Paul. A
Yeah.
lot of people, it's not on their radar because they hear it's boring. So
Sure.
they just write off the whole. And I'm like, wow.
Right.
Like,
Right.
that's pretty wild to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, any spots in particular?
Oh, gosh, I don't know the names of the neighborhoods.
Or things that are
Groveland.
nearby it?
I think it's like that University Ave that's got all like the Vietnamese bakeries and Cambodian places to eat and all
I
that.
think that's like Frogtown, like Hamlin, Midway.
Yeah, I think that. Is it Cathedral Hill?
Yep.
Is that St. Paul?
Yep. Summit Hill.
Summit Hill,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, just going on like random drives over there and just
There's some crazy houses over on by Cathedral Hill.
ridiculous.
Yeah, the whole area feels so big and like, you know, it's
Yeah.
not just like a house, but it's like their lawns are enormous.
Right.
Yeah.
The roads are all wide. That's a weird, like, it's cool, but it's like, whoa.
It feels like a throwback
way
to
different.
like a
Yeah.
different era of like these grandiose mansions and it's beautiful.
There's nowhere else like that in Minnesota, and
Yeah.
I haven't really come across anywhere like that almost anywhere. Like where
Yeah.
it feels so old and so big,
Sure.
and it hasn't been corrupted.
Sure.
You know, like it hasn't been like
Sure.
there's
Yeah,
not
right.
like a McDonald's on the corner.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a crazy,
That's
crazy
awesome.
place. Yeah. Okay. What do you have any favorite like spots? Not even locations, but restaurants.
Yeah.
Menards.
Favorite Menards?
Yeah.
That's a new
The
question.
Menards. Boluto. I like Boluto a lot. I think their pizza might be the best pizza I've had since I got here. There's a little place by me called Good Times Pizza, I think
Okay.
is the name of it. Little tavern style pizzas. Great to just go get a pizza and a beer on a Sunday. And
Cool.
I think it's great. Pat's Tap, that's my local
Oh, yeah.
watering hole.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time there when I
Yeah.
lived in Uptown.
Yeah, it's a great bar.
Favorite brewery?
Favorite brewery? I don't know if I should answer that because I'm not a huge. I like beer, but I'm not like I'll drink a Coors Light
Yeah.
and I'd be perfectly content. So,
So Coors.
yeah, Yes,
Coors Brewery in Golden,
Colorado. Modest has been cool. Modest is
Yeah,
pretty
I like
neat.
Modest a lot.
There's one in Northeast, right by Little Frankie's. By the
Oh
hot dog
yeah,
place.
I think that's closed down. That was my
Able?
favorite. Yeah, Able.
Isn't
Unless
there-
it's Indeed that you're
That
thinking
might
of.
be the
Okay.
one.
Okay, yeah. Able
Further
was my
down
favorite.
Quincy, I think,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Quincy?
That weird cobblestone street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one of the gnarliest streets to drive on.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Should we do the thought experiment?
Yeah. let's do
Okay.
it.
All right. So you have two choices,
Oh boy. Okay.
purely hypothetical.
Okay.
One is take your current home, like the four walls and the roof and everything inside of it,
Yeah.
and move it to your dream location
Okay.
within the Twin Cities, we'll say.
So dream lot. So it could be on water. It could
Oh,
be
okay.
on Summit Avenue.
Okay.
It could be at any lot in the Twin Cities.
Yep.
That, first place that you think of, or that you would.
Or
But you've got your current home. there.
Okay.
yeah, dream lot.
Yeah.
Or you stay exactly where you are, same lot as you are, and you put the sickest house you can imagine on that lot.
Oh geez.
Which one would you do?
That is a tough decision.
I don't know why I find it very fun, and almost everybody disagrees.
Yeah.
All the couples, they're like, "Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's like watching HGTV,
Yeah,
right? So my current house in a beautiful location, or I think I would move it to the water. Yeah.
I think I'm with you.
I don't think I would want to. Again, I don't want to be offensive to people that do this, but like I think tearing down a house and putting up like a monstrosity that does not go with the rest of the neighborhood
Fair.
just messes with the character, and I don't want to be that person. Teach their own. So I think I would take my current house and put it on one of the lakes. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I
Is there a
like it.
lake in mind that you have, or any specific
Um,
place that you?
So I have not explored Calhoun. Is it
Bedemacosca.
No, I have explored Bedemacosca. What's the one north of that? Is it
Isles,
Isles,
Lake
and
of
then
the
there's one
Isles,
more,
yeah.
Cedar, right?
Cedar.
I haven't been to Isles or Cedar yet, so I don't know.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah,
Very
I live
That-
basically
you
between
live
them.
close to those.
They
ones.
are sweets.
Okay.
I mean, they're both very cool.
Yeah.
Isles is more like bike aroundable.
Yeah.
Not a real word. But and Cedar is cool because it's less traveled.
Okay.
Like so, it's there's like a hidden beach. I don't know. There's
Yeah.
like
Okay.
things that you're way less people there. So if that's like something you like,
Got it. Yeah.
Cedar Lake is cool.
Okay.
But Lake of the Isles, I think, is so cool.
And that has the
Beautiful,
coolest houses on it.
very cool houses.
Okay.
And it's kind of the flattest, you know. So I mean, I guess Calhoun, Bedemacosca,
Yeah.
is fairly flat, but a lot of the houses are like a little higher up, and a little more
yeah,
removed, and
yeah.
and the houses on Lake of the Isles are a little closer to it. And
Oh, to like lake
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
and so yeah, it's beautiful art. I mean, yeah, I think probably I would take my place, move it on Lake of the Isles,
Interesting.
or something like
Okay.
that. Yeah,
Okay.
that's- yeah, sick, and it's chill back there.
All right.
Yeah. Cool. That's fun. Thanks for playing.
Sure.
We actually have another thing. Little game we're calling How Minnesotan Are You?
Oh boy. Okay.
So, we're just going to ask questions.
Let's do it.
You don't have to feel ashamed.
Yeah.
If you know.
Okay.
If you don't think it does the trick.
Okay.
It can be as quick as you want to
It's a
answer.
value neutral question. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not being particularly Minnesotan isn't considered good or bad.
Yeah. A 10 out of 10 is probably 2 Minnesota.
Is there such a thing?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Yeah, with some of these questions, maybe, yeah. Have you been to the state fair?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I moved just after it last year.
Oh, fair.
Oh,
Yeah,
right
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Will you go this year?
I have to, otherwise everyone will kick me out of the state. So.
I didn't go until I was an adult.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
You never went as a kid.
Nope. I literally was like 25.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's-
We didn't go all the time as kids, but yeah, we definitely went.
My dad, we went to the state fair grounds
Yeah.
for Back to the 50s, which is this weekend actually. It's like a car show.
Okay.
But like not the state fair.
Really?
That was like not his speed.
And when you got there at 25, were you like, why have I been waiting 25 years?
No, I was like, where are all the cars?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So have you been to the state fairground for anything?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, having not, state fair would be the number one reason people go, but yeah, if people have lived here for a while, yeah, car show or
Comic book,
I've
yeah.
been there for a comic book convention.
Okay.
There's other random stuff throughout the
Equestrian
year.
events.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got one that's specific for you because of where you live. What's the best beach on Bedemacosca?
Oh, I don't think I've been to a beach. I mean, I've like run by them. I guess the 32nd Street beach is the
Okay.
closest, so I'll go with that because I'm lazy and it's close.
Most accessible.
Right on.
Yeah, I didn't know there was. Actually, I didn't even know there was like more than one beach there.
Well, there's the
So-
south end. I don't know what that has like someone's name
Okay.
on the very south end of
Okay.
Bedemacosca, and then there's one on the very north end.
Where like the volleyball courts are,
Yeah.
probably.
Oh,
on
okay.
Bedemacosca.
I don't think I've done anything but ride my bike by there.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
do people swim in Bedemacosca? Can you get in?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're into swimming in fresh water, which not everyone is, but yeah, you can.
Okay.
It's not like polluted or anything. I mean,
Okay.
it's gross because it's fresh water, but outside of that, it's not.
So you're not swimming in Bedemacosca?
No, I would.
Oh, you would.
Yeah,
Okay.
my parents live on a lake in Apple Valley, and yeah, we swim in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
it's not like it's different than if you're more familiar with the ocean, it's a lot different.
Okay. All right.
It's a lot different. Have you had a hot dish?
I did. I made a hot dish.
Hey.
Yeah, this winter.
Good for
and I regretted it.
Sure.
Because
As one does.
first of all, you can only eat the smallest portion, and then you're full for 2 weeks, and then there's so much of it.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do with the rest of this?
What was in yours?
I wanted to do the most like classic, so I got like the cream of mushroom, cream of celery, ground beef, peas, carrots, and then tater tots.
Tater
yeah.
tots.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Good for you. I think that's the first time we've had someone maybe.
Other than
someone
people
else.
who are like more front,
Yeah.
we had
Yeah.
people who lived in up north for like 7 years.
Oh, okay.
And they were very Minnesota. Yeah.
Okay. Another food related one. Have you ever had a salad with marshmallows in it?
No.
Are you familiar with any salad? That you ever heard of like ambrosia fruit salad?
Yes.
Okay.
Man, it sounds so much fancier than it is.
Wait. Yeah. Is that what you meant? Like a fruit salad with?
Yeah, I've seen other
Something
salads.
called a salad with.
Yeah,
Oh.
something referred to as a salad that has something that
was-
you wouldn't really predict in a salad, such as marshmallows.
So it's just marshmallows. No, I don't think. Like I was picturing a Caesar salad with marshmallows, and that sounds
No.
disgusting.
That
but-
does sound pretty gross. Yeah. There's also a Snickers salad is a thing.
Snickers salad.
Yeah.
Is it a dessert item or?
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds cool.
But to call it a salad is like,
Okay,
what are we
that's
doing?
fair.
You know?
That's fair.
Yeah.
Quick follow-up on that one. What's your favorite part of the salad bar at a supper club? Cocktail onions, cottage cheese, or canned
Oh.
mandarin oranges?
I haven't been to a supper club. I have a list of ones I want to go to, but I haven't.
Jack's Cafe in Northeast, perchance?
No, I don't
Okay.
think that's on my list, but I will add it.
Check it out.
I've never been there.
It's cool.
That's right off University, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a supper club?
That was like
Very
two-
old school.
it was
Very
like 2
old
blocks
school.
from the shop.
I
Okay.
was,
shop.
I was there this last winter having a drink with a buddy around Christmas time, and there was an old dude at the bar who had ordered a full lobster,
Yeah.
and he ordered another one while we were there.
Wow.
For himself? Both for
Yeah.
himself? Wow.
It was sick.
That sounds incredible.
But yeah, Jack's Cafe, check it
Okay,
out.
we'll check that out.
Have you eaten Spam? Speaking of Austin.
In general, yes, I've eaten
Okay.
spam.
I've never
Not
had
since
Spam in
I've
my
gotten.
life.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't think of a time when I have either. Have you been to the museum?
The Spam
Spam
Museum?
Museum.
I didn't know there was a Spam Museum.
Either it's in Austin.
Is it in Austin?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've also never been.
Me neither.
That's where the 10 out of 10 starts to get like,
yeah.
give it a rest,
You're
you know?
like, heck yeah.
Yeah. Have you cursed at a pothole?
Yeah, I got a flat tire. That's
Oh,
right
me
there.
too,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
I'm
It's-
still furious
Steve
about
got
it.
hit, double hit.
Two
Two at once.
on both on the passenger side.
Really?
Yeah.
Double
I'm not
jeopardy.
over it.
That's
I
awful.
was
Did
so
you
mad.
put in a claim?
I did, but it was on Central here, and so I was like, I put in the claim for the city, and they told me that MnDOT, operates that road, so there was nothing they could do about it, and so they take it up with MnDOT.
It's the state then.
Yeah.
And the state doesn't do claims. It's only the city.
They do, but I just never got. I was just convinced myself that if I had filed a claim with them, they'd be like, "Well, actually, that's the city of Minneapolis." So I'd just be caught in some
They just
weird
make it
limbo.
so hard that they'll. Yeah. Well, okay.
Have you walked on a frozen lake?
I have not.
Have
Not
you-
yet.
So have you driven on a frozen lake?
I have not yet. No.
Most people work their way out to that.
This one's also a little specific. I'm gonna guess the answer's no, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. How often do you reference the 1998 NFC Championship game with friends or family?
Gary Anderson.
Okay, you get
I
points
mean-
for that.
Obviously 0 times because it didn't break my heart,
Yeah.
but I have.
You're familiar.
Yeah, you know. You know
I
what
mean,
was
anyone
talking
from
about.
Minnesota
That's-
talks about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, I am aware. Wasn't
get
he the
points
one
there.
with the single
One bar,
Yeah,
face, yeah, he hadn't missed a kick all year.
So,
He's like 60 years old. But yeah, he was doing great.
yeah,
Do you have any strong opinions about Caribou Coffee one way or the other?
I would not go to one.
Okay.
I haven't. I've never. I went to one. I think they are in England, and I went to one over there at one point, and it's fine. But I know it's a huge chain, and there's a million better coffee shops around here. So
Where do you go then, or where would you go?
there's a 5 Watt right by me, so I go there pretty often. I'll get coffee at the co-ops and just pick whatever random local roasters has coffee. Yeah, there's just too many good places around.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay. How many of these items do you own? I'm just going to list them off. You can say yes or no.
Okay.
You can provide any additional context or information you'd like that might be helpful. Flannel button-up.
I own a few flannel button-ups, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I was a hipster in Brooklyn, so of course I have a
Sure.
lot of
Right on.
Yeah.
Residual.
Yeah, and it's worked
It works
out great.
here. Yeah, it works
perfect.
here for sure. Yeah, you fit right in. Canoe paddle.
Nothing canoe paddle. No, I'd like
Okay.
to. Yeah.
I feel like that's also on my list.
Anything purchased from Fjallraven?
No, I went to the Fjallraven store in Mall of America and almost bought an axe, like a total yuppie, but I did not. But they look like they have cool stuff, so maybe maybe at some point.
Cool.
So yeah.
Crock pot.
Does an Instapot count?
No, unfortunately.
No. Then no.
In fact, we're going to dock you a point. For
It's fair enough.
Snowblower.
No, but after this past winter, I'm buying one because I wanted to power through it, and it wrecked my back. So all that shoveling is not fun. So.
Necessary.
Yeah.
Okay. Any Bon Iver album on vinyl?
On vinyl, no, I'm not. I love Bon Iver, but no, not on vinyl. So.
Okay. Fixed gear bicycle?
Yeah, it got stolen. Yes.
Oh no.
Unfortunately, yeah.
While you were here?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
That's on me though. I left
That's
my
sad.
garage open, and surprisingly, they took my crappy fixed gear, not my nice bike, but my bopping around town bike was that one.
Were they also hipsters from New York?
They must have been.
Yeah, they're like, aha, yeah.
Okay. Just a couple more. Anything with the words Grain Belt Premium on it?
No, those just go in my belly because that is a good beer. I discovered that.
Okay. Randy Moss Vikings throwback?
I'm Cowboys fan, so I can't do anything Randy Moss.
so definitely
no,
not.
No offense. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Fishing rod?
Not yet. It's on the list for sure.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we got a few maybes or
Yeah.
in the future.
Yep.
We'll circle back.
Yes.
Follow
Give me
up
a
on
year.
those.
Yeah, in 1 year, we'll circle back on that. Okay, a couple quick ones. Have you been to a meat raffle?
Totally want to. That's
Okay.
definitely on my list of things that I want to do.
Have you played pull tabs?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
You're the first.
Bullhorn?
Bullshorn, yeah.
Bullhorn, yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
Good on you.
That place is good, and I like playing pull tabs, even though I never win it. So,
Yeah, dude, can anybody win? No, I'm kidding. Everybody always has a story about how much they won on pull tabs. I think it's more than like a casino. They're like, oh, and then it's like
has
more.
it ever been in a like a big amount?
Not more than, in my experience, not more than 100.
I was gonna say
okay.
I was gonna say 200.
Yeah.
Would
Okay.
be on the high.
You're not
end.
talking thousands of dollars.
No.
Okay.
Certainly not life-changing money.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If I said, I'm gonna go to the Biff, do you know what that means?
The Biff. No, it just reminds me of Back to the Future.
Fair. It's a porta potty. It's a brand of porta potty.
It's a brand of port potty.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
Yeah. Or Biffy. That's a thing.
Okay.
Have you seen the Northern Lights?
No. No.
On the list, probably.
Yes, for sure. That would be amazing.
Have you ever caught a walleye?
Nope.
Have you caught a crappie?
No. I've never been fishing up here, so I
Okay.
haven't caught any of these, but I like fishing, so it's on the list.
Once you get the pole, you'll be,
Once
you'll
I get
be
the
right on
pole,
your way.
for sure. For sure.
Have you sat in a giant, a comically large Adirondack chair?
No.
Are you
No.
familiar though?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I want to. Where do I find
We're talking like 20 feet high.
Yeah.
Oh, where?
I think there's one off lake. It might not be there anymore.
I don't know where the nearest one is. I can definitely picture.
There's more than one?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think there's one off lake just past the Calhoun, whatever club. What's it called? Beach Club.
Okay.
And then, but on the south side. It's maybe not 20 feet, but it's comically.
Yeah,
large.
that might
It will
have been-
make
I might
you
have
look
been
like a
overestimated.
child.
Okay.
You know? Yeah.
I'm going to find that this
And
weekend.
then, or just start driving up north, and you'll,
Oh,
you'll
all right.
find one.
You'll run into one eventually.
Okay. Have you ever witnessed a fight at a hockey game between parents?
No.
Okay. That's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more?
Yeah, I got just a couple more quick ones. Do you know? Speaking of traffic stuff, do you know what a Minnesota standoff is?
Is that when everyone's at a stop sign and just saying, like, you go first, you go first? Yeah, that happens a lot here.
No.
Yeah. That's the Minnesota Nice, right?
Yeah.
After you.
Yeah.
Okay, and then here's my last one. Where were you the day Prince died?
Oh, gosh. I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know.
I might have to rephrase that. It kind of sounds like I'm asking for an alibi.
Yeah.
We just want to rule you out as a
Yes.
suspect.
I was not anywhere near Prince the day he died.
Do you remember where you were the day?
I do. I remember I was driving in my car listening to The Current, and the news came across the transom. Yeah, that Prince had died. It was. I looked this up. I wouldn't have been able to remember this, but it was April of 2016.
Was it a... I guess, is Prince, like, universally loved, or were some people just like,
I wouldn't say
whatever?
universally.
Okay.
But he is. He's like the. I don't know.
I would say he's Minnesota's favorite son.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
More so than a football player.
Yeah.
Well,
Or-
I think it's because he's from here and he
Yeah.
repped here so hard. Like I think
Yeah,
the most
fair.
famous I would say the most famous like athlete that came out. Well, Lindsey Vonn, but like Joe Mauer was from. He was a Twins player.
Yeah, sure.
He was from St. Paul, or is from St. Paul.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, outside of that, I mean,
Thielen.
yeah, but yeah, like it would have to be like an athlete that was from here.
Okay.
That was also like one of, I mean,
That
one
played
of
for
the
the-
biggest in the league at the time.
yeah, that
It's like
played
Randy
for the
Moss
team.
doesn't count.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even though,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Super legit. But yeah, yeah, okay. I can't, yeah, he's probably the most,
I mean, I think people on that level would be like Bob Dylan, but Bob Dylan left pretty early and
Yeah.
didn't really
Didn't rep it.
he
Yeah.
did not
Yeah.
rep it.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. Kirby Puckett.
Yeah, also not from here.
I know.
But yeah, but yeah, good example.
Okay. Any more of those?
I think we're good. I feel good.
I feel
Unless
good.
this is no, we well, I'll just say it. Can you name a Semisonic song other than Closing Time?
No, absolutely not. I didn't. Are they from here?
Yeah.
Well, that's a fact I just learned. So.
Okay, I'm good. I think I got it out of my system.
Okay. Yeah. I think that, well, okay. This is appropriate. Once you've announced your departure, how long does it take for you to leave?
Oh, this is something my neighbors who are born and bred Minnesotans have commented on. I guess I'm out.
Quick.
If I'm like, I'm out of here, I got to go, I'm out. I don't do the long Minnesota goodbye. So,
I think that's something as a community we could work on. I think,
Yeah.
I think we could shorten our goodbyes, but yeah.
it is.
Are you talking about
awkward
our
leaving.
team, or just Minnesota?
Oh, Minnesota in general,
Oh,
but
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
probably the team too.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure, me. I'm terrible at it.
It feels awkward when I cut it short and don't stay another 30 minutes, but yeah.
Yeah. You'd be like, I gotta get going, and they're like,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a famous, maybe it's famous, like a PBS skit. Have y'all seen this? It's like from the 70s about how to speak Minnesotan and
No.
be a Minnesotan. It's incredible, actually. It's really funny, but this family visits some friends, and the goodbye turns into staying the night and breakfast the next day, and they're like chasing them down the road when they actually do leave. It's amazing. So yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. We're through that part. Do you have any parting wisdom that you would share to somebody who was in your situation, who was trying to move here? Anything, whether it's about the move, I mean, what you did was pretty smart, but anything, a warning, any kind of wisdom?
I mean, I think do your homework before you get here. If you're serious, I think that certainly helped, made the process be efficient and faster. Work with the right people. I'm not just saying that. Like it really helped to have Steve and all his knowledge, and he didn't bullshit me. There was things he were like steered me away from, and I really appreciated that. So. And then I guess just be open-minded. If you come in thinking this is like the neighborhood and the place, or have a preconceived notion about a city, it could surprise you. Or so I think just having an open mind is helpful.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's great advice.
so
Don't write off St. Paul.
don't write off St. Paul.
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
thank
This
you
is
so
awesome,
much
guys.
for coming out.
This was cool. I
great to
appreciate
talk
it.
to you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Very nice to have you and,
Yeah.
and your perspective and all that. And yeah, thank you. We won't do a Minnesotan goodbye.
I'm
Fade to
out.
black.
Bye, everybody.